Hello, everybody, and of course, welcome back to another very special episode of X Talking Ish with your boy X. And
And Ish, what up?
you already know what to do. If you are on Facebook, please make sure you like and share this broadcast, please, so more people can tune in to us talking a lot of ish about sports. And if you are on YouTube, please make sure of course, you hit that subscribe button and please make sure you hit that notification bells for future shows.
Ding.
Thank you for that, Ish. And as well, if you are on Twitter checking us out on Periscope, please make sure you check us out on X underscore Williams81 to follow my Twitter page to check us out on Periscope. Alrighty then, with that being said, it's going to be a pretty fun episode, a wrap up of week one in the NFL. Ish, let's go ahead and get straight into that action, boss. Action Jackson. Last night, if you do follow us on Facebook and YouTube, of course, we came on during Monday Night Football halftime and we talked about what we saw in the first half. And the first half was just the beginning of what we were going to see in the second half when it comes to nothing but a roller coaster. I mean, this game was back and forth, and not just in the regulation time period, but also in overtime with both of these teams. Ish, you started off first because it was a lot going on in this game. Go ahead and start us off.
We came on at halftime, and I basically told you seem kind of down on the Raiders, and I was telling you, like, man, they've been gaining momentum on the defensive side. They were stopping the Ravens consistently, getting a lot of pressure on Lamar, and then David Carr seemed to find a rhythm towards the end of the first half, especially the way he was targeting Waller the whole time. For me, it was just like, bro, it looked like it was trending in the way of the Raiders. And lo and behold, that second half, sure enough, the Raiders, they found a way to win. And that's the crazy thing about it, right? Like, both teams had opportunities to win that game. And it seemed like both teams were trying to lose the game.
Yeah.
And then
no one wanted the game.
And then the Raiders just ended up, somehow pulling it out, which to me, I just felt like the way that it was trending and the way that it just kind of was playing out, it seemed like the Raiders were going to win. And sure enough, they won. So it's disappointing from a Ravens standpoint because they were doing so well. And I don't know, man. I don't know. It's disappointing, man. Lamar Jackson was doing so much better. To see him, actually staying in the pocket, making some throws, kind of being consistent at times. But like you said, up and down roller coaster. Like, he had his moments, and then he would show the old Lamar. The Ravens. It's gonna be an uphill battle for them. As far as like just trying to make sure that they stay healthy, because that's the biggest problem they have right now is staying healthy, and then making sure that Lamar kind of stays to what he knows.
I just want to get to the comment section right quick. A shout out to Justin Stabler. He says, "If I didn't watch all the game last night, but if I'm here to say if my shirt's not on my doorstep in the morning, the FBI and DEA will be at y'all's doorstep in the morning." Justin, I got you. Don't worry. It will be at your doorstep sooner than later. He said, all jokes aside, I appreciate y'all outlooks of the game. We appreciate everyone for tuning in. Every time y'all tune in, we do appreciate y'all, especially our brother Lee. He says Brian Edwards has a ton of this insider camp hype last year before he got injured in big time. This preseason being back. Was this his coming out party in the fourth and also overtime, or just the right place, right time?
Nah, I feel like it's his coming out party. I think he's gonna have a big year because when you look at what's around him, I just think that he's got to step up. He's gonna have to make the plays, and there's no one better than him. 6'3", 212. He's built like a number one receiver, like that guy. And I think for the Raiders, he's got to be that guy because you got Hunter Renfrow, he's a good wide receiver, a decent wide receiver. He's more of a slot guy. I would say the same for Zay Jones, same for Henry Ruggs. Like, they kind of, it's funny to me.
They're all the same. They're all the same receiver.
The two teams that played each other, they kind of are in the same boat as far as at the receiver position. They got a bunch of guys that are like smaller, faster, quick guys, but they don't have that like number one receiver, except for the exception is Bryan Edwards from the Raiders. So I do think that this game was his coming out party. I mean, he had 5 targets. He caught 4 of those for 81 yards. So I'm hoping he'll continue in that realm for the Raiders. Not too much because the Chiefs are in that division. But yeah, if the Raiders want to be successful, they're gonna need him to step up, and they're also gonna need Josh Jacobs to get healthy again because it was a pretty disappointing night. 10 carries for 34 yards. He had the 2 touchdowns, but I mean, 10 carries for 34 yards. That is not what you're looking for. So we'll have to wait and see. But Bryan Edwards, I definitely agree with you, Lee. That was his coming out party. He's going to be a really good receiver for them. Look for him to have a big year.
Since you spoke a lot about, of course, the Raiders, I want to talk about the Baltimore Ravens. And there were a lot of people, mainly on social media, that just felt like it was going to be a lot easier to be able to plug and play a guy like Latavius Murray or, of course, Le'Veon Bell with the injuries that they've had at the running back position, thinking that it's just going to be easy to just plug and play guys. And I tell people all the time, look, the NFL is not fantasy football. This is not Madden, okay? You cannot just plug and play people and think that they're just going to pick up right where that previous person left off at, right? We do know in football it's next man up, but we also know as well there's a reason why that guy is second string. There's a reason why that guy is third string. And even though the Ravens, they played well. Like, they didn't play horrible. I'm not saying that they played bad. I'm not saying it at all. My problem is with the Ravens is they're going to run Lamar to death. And what I mean by that is if your leading passer, of course, is Lamar Jackson, 19 for 30, 235 yards and a touchdown, and your leading rusher is Lamar Jackson for 12 carries for 86 yards, Y'all telling me this is going to happen all 17 games? This is not Little League Florida football where Lamar Jackson played at, okay? This is not high school football. It worked in the past. I understand people say, oh, he won the MVP this way. Regular season, this can work. Postseason, the same way I look at what they're doing in the regular season is the same way I see when the Wildcat first got introduced in the NFL. It was cute. It was gimmicky. It worked for a little bit. Then after that, when teams started catching on and found out how to stop it, it was kaput, right? There are teams that come out and use that package from time to time, but running the ball in this way and utilizing your quarterback in this way is just not going to win you a championship, especially when you have offenses like a Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, besides the Buffalo Bills, we'll get to them very shortly. Even the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, Pittsburgh Steelers offense at the moment look a lot better than the Ravens offense. So one thing we're not going to do in week 1, we're not going to put too much stock into all of these games, right? We saw how they were, what they are. We're not going to put too much stock in it. Some of these games are mulligan games, and we're going to see how teams look by week 6, week 7, and week 8. All right, let's go ahead and move along to the season opener. Let's go ahead and talk about those Cowboys and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the defending Super Bowl champions. Unfortunately, the Cowboys let a very, very great opportunity slip out of their hands. I won't say they had this game, but they were very close of being able to steal a game from Tom Brady, a.k.a. the GOAT, right? Didn't happen. But overall for the Cowboys, I'll be the first to say it. I think I was wrong, Ish. I think I was wrong. In the words of Justin Stabler, we back. I think the Cowboys might be with one game. I'm not gonna overreact. One game.
Yeah, I was gonna say don't overreact.
I'm not gonna overreact because I have to see how these Cowboys do week 4, week 8, week 12. But if they can do this type of performance that they did against Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I love what I saw from Dakota Rain Prescott and that Cowboys offense and that Cowboys defense. it's something to be reckoned with. I mean, we talk about the Washington football team, but again, we'll get to them very shortly. But the Cowboys, man, hey, I'll say right now, after 1 week, I was wrong.
I mean, I'm happy that you said it and I didn't have to tell you because,
Anyways,
like you said, after 1 week, man, it looks like my pick for the NFC East might be right on the nose. The Cowboys came out and they played well against the defending Super Bowl champs. Dak Prescott looked like he didn't miss a beat. I mean, that man came out balling. So it was interesting to watch because I was surprised at just how well he came in and didn't look like he was favoring the leg at all, not even the shoulder. He looked healthy. He looked ready to go. He was making wonderful throws. That receiving core, still the same receiving core. Very good, very good. You do have to say the rushing it's a very good Tampa Bay defense, so you don't want to put too much stock into the fact they only had 60 yards rushing. But at the same time, you do want to see more. Zeke didn't get very many touches in the first half. We're going to have to see something from there. But I just want, and that's exactly what I'm saying. Like Dak throws 50 times, and there's no run game.
Let me read this comment right quick. You know, Justin says, "LOL, LOL," but nah. As a realistic football fan, it's not going to work because they're making Dak throw 50 times and forgetting about the run game. McCartney has a rep of ruining good running backs or making them an afterthought. Now, I completely understand where both of y'all are coming from. But I was looking at this game as a matchup type of game, as in Dak needed to throw that many times to stay with Tom Brady. Now, I understand completely something that Dak has done previously. He throws the ball a lot, you know. So I'm not saying at all that that's not something Dak hasn't done previously. But for both pieces to work, Dak and Zeke, they have to run the ball. For Dak to be successful, Zeke has to get going. And I think week 2 we'll see feed me Zeke. I think we'll see Zeke get the ball at least 25 times. And I think we'll see more of a balance next game with the Cowboys. I think this was just more of a situational type of football ish.
Well, and the thing is, again, it's week 1, so I'm not overreacting. But that's what I'm just making note that when you only have what it was, 18 attempts for 60 yards, then yeah, there's got to be a concern there when you're throwing the ball 58 times. 58 passes to only 18 runs is not the way that you're going to win in this league. I'm sorry to say, that doesn't make for good football. So. It'll be interesting to see how it goes because, like you said, it may have been a situational thing. You're playing against the Buccaneers, who traditionally are very good against the run. The defensive line is very stout, but we're gonna have to wait and see. It's early in the season, but they did look good. They looked great on defense. And as far from a Buccaneer standpoint, I mean, it was pretty much same old for them. It was exactly what you expected. They found a way to win the game. Tom Brady looked like Tom Brady. That offense, I mean, if AB is playing like that all year, man, look for that repeat. Because if you got AB playing like that and you still got Mike Evans and Chris Godwin there, goodness, that receiving core, that's going to be a nightmare matchup. And so the last thing y'all need is a locked-in AB. And then that defensive line still looking as good as they were last year. Only allowed 52. They only allowed 60 rushing yards, whereas the Cowboys only allowed 52 rushing yards. So the Cowboys were right there with them, putting in a piece. But the problem is 379 passing yards for the Cowboy defense. That is a concern for me because that secondary is the point. When I was saying, I thought the Cowboys were going to win the NFC East, the one concern I had was that secondary because I thought the linebackers were going to do a good job. The defensive front was going to do a decent job. It was the secondary for me. And I don't know, man. You're giving up that much in a game. You got Justin Herbert this coming week coming in, and he did a really good job this in week 1. So that is something to look out for. Is that secondary? If they are going to be mediocre, then it's going to be hard for the Cowboys to win consistently without it being a shootout every game.
And I appreciate you very much for that segue because our next topic for today is the Chargers and the Washington football team. We'll, of course, talk about this game right quick and staying in the division of the NFC East. We talked about this, of course, in the pregame show on Sunday. That reason why we're picking the Chargers by a very slim margin, which they did win by 2 points, was because of that bad man, that young sophomore, Mr. Justin Herbert. At the moment, he was able to wield his team to a win against the Washington football team, who at the moment is down a quarterback. Mr. Ryan Fitzpatrick did get placed on IR with a fractured hip, which is not something that anybody wants, especially at his age. And it seems like, let's be honest, Ish, before we get even into the game, we have to kind of go back a little bit and wonder, is this Cam Newton's opportunity to maybe slide in and save the day for the Washington football team? Because if Cam can't play here with his former coach, Ron Rivera, that went to the Super Bowl together, then is it a wrap for Cam Newton? Because all around the league, they have their quarterbacks. He's not going to start week 2 anywhere else in the NFL. Again, besides maybe Washington, and it might not be in 2 weeks. It might not be week 2. It might be in week 3 or week 4, where he understands the playbook a little bit more. But for Washington, do they take the chance and the opportunity to try and go get Cam Newton?
I hope not. I just don't think that we've seen it in Carolina before. There's no need to see it again. It's not. I don't think it's necessarily going to work. Although he's going to have a really good defense there in Washington, so that kind of helps him out. But I don't think so. I don't think I actually like Heineke. I think that he played well when he came in. He stepped up. If you remember at the end of last season, I was actually saying before they even went and got Fitzmagic, like, why are you guys worried about getting another quarterback? Like, this guy has played okay since he's come in. He didn't give you any indication as to why you needed to replace him. So I wanted to give him a shot, see what he's got. I hope that they give him a shot, see what he has. If you want to bring somebody in for insurance, I understand, but Cam Newton is not that guy to bring in for insurance. Because again, the problem with Cam Newton is you got to change the system. Is the system the same as it was in Carolina? I don't think it really is. Based on what I've seen from them, it doesn't look similar to what they had when they had Cam. And I don't know. I don't want to see it.
Well, okay, the question I have for you, and again, we'll get back to the game very shortly, is they don't have to probably change the offense too much for Cam because he's not running as much as he used to, right? So would he be more of a pocket passer going, anywhere elsewhere moving forward?
I just don't know that we saw enough from him in New England to say that he's an improved passer or that he's going to get the ball to some of these guys that they have in Washington. Is he better than Heineke? Yeah, I believe he's better than Heineke. However, I just don't know that he'll perform at that level. I think talent is not the issue for me and Cam Newton. I think it's the consistency, the performance, the trust. I don't have the trust in him. I don't believe that he can make the consistent throw that he needs to make. Kind of the same thing I feel about Lamar Jackson, right? And it's the same thing I feel about Kirk Cousins. I feel like Kirk Cousins on his day, yeah, he can make the throws, but is he consistent enough to make the throw and be that franchise guy? No. So I think Cam kind of falls in that category for me right now. I just don't have any faith in him. And so I'd rather roll with Heineke than roll with Cam Newton at the moment. Now, I've also heard noise of RG3. He's out there trying to shoot his shot, telling them to reach out and make a call.
Yeah, I've seen that too. Anyway, stay in the booth, RG3.
Oh, RG3.
RG3, hey, you do not want those problems again.
I wouldn't mind seeing him go there and be the backup because he's not going to play. RG3, I think it's over for you, my guy. But
trust me, when we saw him running for that touchdown with the Ravens and he pulled up with a hammy, it was a wrap. It was a wrap for him after that.
Yeah.
All right, just to finish up on this game as well, was there anything in this game that you would that I want to say surprise you, but that you can say, man, I was very impressed from the Chargers or even the Watch football team because of.
No, I mean it was pretty much standard. The game went as I expected. Justin Herbert had a big day, 334 passing yards. He had the interception, but still, it is to be expected.
Looks like Lee
Um,
said he was happy to see Mike Williams play the way that he plays. Said that's what the Chargers need to compete. Definitely
yeah,
agree on
I
that.
mean, I don't think I was surprised, but like you said, it's about time, man. Like people been waiting
He's too
for it.
big. He's too
Yeah,
great. I mean, he's another one of them Clemson products that
yeah,
came out, and I
he's
mean,
another one of
he
those
was an
products. And
afterthought. He's an afterthought, really, of those
well,
Clemson
when you got
receivers.
Keenan Allen, who's been performing the way he's been performing, I mean, he's kind of been overshadowed by that. But it was nice to see him finally, kind of go toe to toe with Keenan Allen, as far as just being able to match him. I mean, Keenan Allen had 9 receptions for 100 yards. Mike Williams had 8 receptions for 82 yards and the touchdown. So yeah, I mean, if you can have those two guys perform like they did, like I said, I expected them to take a jump this year and to challenge the Chiefs, and I think that this performance kind of backs that up.
All right. Speaking of overshadowed, thank you for the segue again. This game that definitely got overshadowed here in Houston because a lot of people didn't expect anything too much to happen in this game, but we saw some points from the Texans, and also not. Let me be respectful, Ish. Let me be respectful. The AFC South Division leaders, the Houston Texans. Okay, we put some spec on their name.
We're not
Okay,
putting any respect on their
put some
name.
spec on that name
The
after week one
organization in
because
Houston.
the Houston Texans came out here and skull dragged Urban Meyer and the Sunshine Kids of the Jacksonville Jaguars because the Texans came after Trevor Lawrence and was able to disguise a couple of looks, get 3 picks off of him, and tell the Rook, hey, welcome to the NFL. This is your first loss ever since high school and college and all that stuff. One thing I will say though, Kyler Murray and Trevor Lawrence, for y'all that ain't never lost ever, I have to go back and reevaluate the teams that y'all play because come on, y'all here. How y'all here play everybody no lose not once? Come on now. Now don't build. See, that's what happens. Y'all come to the league. Now you gotta lose. Now you gotta build character in the league and stuff like. Come on, man. Y'all should have did that when y'all was kids. Anyways, the point is, your Houston Texans.
They're not my anything. Don't even play with me like that.
Had
They're
a
not
hell of
my
a game
anything.
on a Sunday. Was this something that they can build off on and maybe pass that Vegas line of 4 wins for this season?
Mentally, is it something they can build off of? Sure, I guess. But if you're being realistic and you're looking at who they played in week 1, then no, they don't. They're not building off of anything at all. Because actually, it's funny that everybody's getting all hyped up and excited. And
Because Houston doing
if I
exactly
had
what they want to Houston fans to do.
yeah.
Continue.
Well, not only that, if I had done my research before, I would have actually picked the Texans because going back to 2020, real quick, let me pull those stats up real quick.
Pull them up, baby. Pull them
When
up.
the Jaguars came to Houston and played Houston last year, it was a very similar stat line. It was very similar in the fact that the Jags only threw for 289 and they rushed for 75 yards. Well, guess what? They played this weekend and the Jags actually had give me a second, let me pull that back up for you. The Jags threw for 319, so they improved in their passing yards. So Trevor Lawrence effect right there. And they rushed for 1 more yard than they did last year, 76 yards. So, I mean, it seems like whenever the Jaguars come to Houston, the Texans play the Jaguars really well and win that game, right? They won 30-14 last year. So is this an announcement of the Texans being better than we expected, or is this an organization playing a divisional foe at home like they play a divisional foe at home? Like that's where for me I'm kind of like, let's not overreact to this. Like we've been saying, it's week 1. Let me see what you do next week against the Cleveland Browns, who just played the Kansas City Chiefs in a really, really close game. So if you play the Browns similar to how you played the Jaguars at Cleveland on the road, then I give you all the respect in the world. Then we
For just
come
for this
here
season though.
and I might start apologizing to y'all.
Uh-oh.
I might be like,
Uh-oh.
okay, maybe I was a little too hard
You
on
heard it
y'all.
here first, Texan fans on
But
X Talking Ish.
I highly doubt that's what's going to happen. I highly doubt it. All the respect in the world to Tyrod Taylor. He came out here. You're in a tough situation. The guy who wanted to be traded still in the building. You don't really got to have a receiving core around you. You got 10 running backs in the backfield that you got to hand the ball to. But he still came out and he balled and he did what he had to do. The defense, they played well. They stopped the run, which I was very surprised by that because James Robinson, if everybody remembers last year, that guy was in the top 5 back last year. So for them to come out and to hold the Jaguars to only 76 yards rushing, I mean that's got to be somewhat respectable. But is this something to get excited about? Pump the brakes. Let's wait and see.
Pump the brakes. We will wait and see. All right, I respect it. All right, let's go ahead and stay in that AFC South division and go to the Seahawks and Colts game. Ugh, this did not go the way I expected it to go. I thought the Colts were going to show up, but Mr. Russell Wilson said, "Not on my watch. Not on my watch." Mr. Russell Wilson said. And did a vintage Russell Wilson. I mean, it looks like he's already in midseason form, throwing 4 touchdowns. And he told the Colts, "Hey, I'm not here to play."
I mean, I don't know how you saw this going, but it went exactly as I expected it to go.
I mean, damn. I mean, I wasn't. I mean, Tyler Lockett and Russ looked like they picked up where they left off last season.
They came ready to play, and then Sam Bradford 2.0 was, he was okay. I mean, he didn't show you anything too exciting. So it is exactly what I thought it was going to be. It is going to be interesting to see how Sam Bradford 2.0, aka Carson Wentz, plays with the Colts, because as most people will remember, the Colts were a playoff team last year, and Phillip Rivers actually had them. They looked mighty dangerous.
A play or two away of moving on past the Buffalo Bills and maybe playing the Baltimore Ravens in the next round.
Yeah, I mean, they looked really dangerous towards the end of the season last year. So this isn't like a chump team. This is a team that is actually built pretty well. They got really good running backs. They got a decent wide receiver core, good line. I know there's some injuries there. And that defense is a stout defense. So for the Seahawks to come in to Indianapolis and do what they did to them, that to me, it doesn't say anything about the Colts other than the fact that Carson Wentz is a downgrade from Phillip Rivers. But it does say to me that the Seahawks are a team to be reckoned with in the NFC West. And it is just making me rub my hands together and drool in excitement for what the NFC West is going to look like moving forward, because those teams, when you talk about a division that came to ball in week 1, they definitely came to ball in week 1.
You definitely are correct, especially, of course, speaking of the NFC West. We will speak on them in about a couple more minutes later on in this show. For me, it ain't really too much to speak on. I picked the Colts, honestly, not because I thought they were the better team, because I didn't want people to think I'm a hater, because I'm a Titans fan. No, I'm serious. You know, some people think
picked the better team, the team that was going to win.
But I assumed, again, it's a home game. You know, that's what happens when you assume sometimes, right? It's a home game. Maybe you can pull it out for the Gipper on this one, right? Win one for the Gipper.
No.
And no, it didn't happen this time.
Not at all.
You know, that's on me. We're going to learn from this mistake, and we're going to move on to week 2. And we're going to talk about these Jets and these Panthers with the debut of Zach Wilson for the Jets, and also, of course, the revenge game for Mr. Sam Darnold and also Robbie Anderson. With that being said, what I should say with this question, is who proved more in this game? Sam Darnold, that, hey, I'm not as bad as y'all think that I am? Or Zach Wilson, even though it took him maybe till the second half to really get going, that, hey, I can play in this league?
Oh, it's got to be Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold proved more. I mean, Zach Wilson, we kind of knew what to expect coming out of preseason. We know he's a rookie, so we know it's going to be a little bit of tough times. I was not surprised. In the preseason, teams aren't showing too much, right? So definitely I expected for any of the rookies that played in the preseason and did well or, had some success, I expected some sort of regression because now the defense is showing you more. They're showing you multiple looks, right? They're stemming before the snap. They're going to confuse you with some of the movement, bring some guys that you weren't seeing brought in preseason. So Zach Wilson, for me, it went as I expected. A little bit rough to begin with. Then he got kind of comfortable, started doing a little bit more. I expect him, again, as any rookie would, to kind of progress. I want to see the progression as the games go along. So I'm still waiting to see from him. But Sam Darnold, definitely, I mean, it was the revenge game, like I said, on Sunday morning. I was expecting him to come out and really want to ball against them, and he balled. I mean, he had 270 passing yards. So he showed that, hey, with the right cast around him, with the right play call, the right coaching staff, he can be a really good starting quarterback in this league. And for me, it was a good sign from the Panthers because I felt like last year they were really close in a lot of games, and had they had a better quarterback, they probably could have made some more noise than they did last year. And with Sam Darnold and what he showed me in the first game, I'm slightly optimistic that they may make some noise in the NFC South because the way that the Saints played, which we'll talk about that later on, and the Bucks, who we already talked about. I mean, you got a mountain to climb in the NFC South if you want to make some noise. I mean, you could still potentially get a wild card spot, but I mean, if you want to try to win that division, you got two really stout teams, so you are gonna have to play well. And Sam Darnold, he started off the season the right way. Definitely something he can build upon, and I look forward to it.
I'll say this with the Panthers. Of course, any season is any given season. Anybody it's anybody's Super Bowl to win, right? Just because the Bucks look the way they look and the Saints look the way they look doesn't mean they're gonna look like that at Week 15. So of course you want to ball every week because you just never know. But the way I look at, if we look at those three teams in the NFC South, most likely the Bucks or the Saints are going to probably win that division. And the second team is probably might make a wild card spot. And if you look at the rest of the NFC, man, it's loaded. And what I mean by that is the Panthers, no matter how good they play, they just might not have enough for this season to be able to get a playoff spot. So this might need for them to be a season where they learn about each other this whole season. They go through those growing pains, the good and the bad. And next season, they add some more pieces. Maybe that becomes a free agent destination that some people say, hey, wide receivers or DBs say, hey, I want to go to that team because of Sam Darnold and because of what they're building over there. But I just feel like the NFC, man, is just too tough. And I don't think that the Panthers have enough talent-wise to be able to compete against the Saints and the Bucks in just that division alone, let alone the rest of the conference. But
yeah, one concern though before we move on, one concern that I do have for the Panthers, you had Christian McCaffrey with 21 rushing attempts for 98 yards, and Chuba Hubbard, no rushing attempts. So you got a really good backup running back.
It was really good.
You didn't give him any touches. Like, you didn't give him any touches, and you let Christian McCaffrey have 21 touches after the season he had last year, where he was pretty banged up, got hurt. Like, we know how many times he touches the ball. I mean, he also had 9 receptions on top of the 21 carries. So it's like, it's a long season. Why is it that you are not giving more touches to your backup back, who is a really good back? So, I mean, that's one concern I have.
No, I agree. Lee also says this could be a season where the whole NFC West makes the playoffs with the expansion of 7 teams. This is very true.
I hope for Cliff's sake that they do.
I've said it before, and yeah, we'll get to Cliff very soon. Don't bring up Cliff right now. I'm still hurt. I'm still hurt about Cliff. Alrighty then, the Vikings and the Bengals, the game that no one got. Because first thing is first, Ish. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. I'm going to have to hit that one time for Joey Burrow because, my goodness, Joey, you had to do us like that? Look, I knew you felt some type of way about sitting out all
He didn't
season.
have to do that,
I
man.
understand, Joey. I got you. No real player wants to sit out a whole season due to injury. But why you have to come back and do us like that? Week 1 at home. We expected the vet Kirk Cousins to come in and win this game. You expect, right? Ish?
You expected it.
But this again, the sophomore, no slumps anymore for a guy like Joey Burrow to come in and do what he do with this new addition of no drops Chase, Jamar Chase. He said, I know how to catch footballs out here in the NFL. Y'all gonna play? Y'all think y'all gonna play me in the media? Not today. So I'm gonna go out here and catch these 5 passes for 101 yards and a touchdown on y'all asses. And after week 1, Cincinnati Bengals look pretty decent. Not saying that they're going to do anything in the playoffs or win a division. I'm just they look decent.
Oh yeah. I mean, this to me was a statement game. This was a statement game for the Bengals.
I agree.
A statement game for Joe Burrow because one of the reasons why I picked the Vikings was I just didn't feel like he was going to come back from that injury.
It was going to take a little time, a game or two, get his legs back set up on the center. I got you.
20 for 27, a 74% completion percentage, bro. 261 yards and 2 touchdowns. Like, I did not expect him to come out balling like that in the first game. He really was slinging that thing all around. My boy Jamar Chase, he quieted all the doubters out. Y'all said, oh, well, he can't see. There's no white lines for him to see the ball. He can't track the ball. Yeah, he only went 5 for 101 on you. So everybody can be quiet about that. Not to mention T. Higgins still had 4 for 58 in a touchdown. So it's going to be interesting, especially with Joe Mixon rushing for 127. This team, they seem a little bit further along than we thought they were going to be. We were saying how last year they were building up. They were kind of exciting, and then Joe Burrow got injured. And then it was like, oh, man, you wish you could have saw what they were going to be like the entire season with Joe Burrow at the helm. Well, it looks like they just picked up where they left off even when he's back in. So I'm excited to see that. For the Vikings, though, this is very concerning. I thought that they would struggle at some point in the season. I thought that Kirk Cousins was going to have, some pressure on him, and there was going to be some issues for them. Dalvin Cook only rushed for 61 yards on 20 carries. So, a 3.1 average for rushing, that's not very, very good. Didn't help Kirk Cousins out that much. But if the defense doesn't step up, because really that's what was carrying them for the most part, we could see Kirk Cousins out halfway through the season.
Kellen Mond.
We could start to
Kellen Mond.
It could be resignation of, hey, we just don't have it. It's time to start thinking about a rebuild in Minnesota. It was very concerning, especially if you want to compete with the Green Bay Packers, who didn't look that great in week 1 either. So I guess the one highlight for them was the rest of the division did just as poor. So, I mean, that's the one bright spot for the Vikings, but they definitely are going to be looking to bounce back next week. But unfortunately for y'all, it doesn't get much easier because you're going on the road to Arizona, who we all saw what that toddler.
We're going to talk about that bad little toddler real soon. Yes. Like you said, I'll just piggyback on the Vikings part is Kirk Cousins, you're at a point in time where you're stealing money now, sir. I mean, you're just stealing money now.
He's been stealing money.
I mean, because this is just ridiculous. Like, you shouldn't lose this game. But I don't have anything really to talk about, honestly, is because this is just disrespectful. It's really disrespectful. Yeah. Joey Burrow is probably already a better quarterback than you are, Kirk Cousins, ever have been. Yeah, college and pro. Yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Like, it's disrespectful to Kirk Cousins not to win this damn game. That's just how I feel. All right, so
I mean, it wasn't really his fault. He still had a decent game.
well, guess what? When you're the quarterback, you get all the blame, you get all the glory, right? It'd be like that. Alrighty then. Speaking of quarterbacks that get all the blame and all the glory, another game we were both wrong on, and I have no problems being wrong on this one, but I wasn't expecting for it to be the way that it happened, that it went. You know how they say, a hard head makes a soft behind, and you usually are probably chasing a bat a little taller to probably spank that bat, that little behind because they are bad. Well, Kyler Murray was that bat a little taller, and we just could not catch him. And when you're watching him play, it literally looks like you're playing backyard football, and everybody else is just fat and tall, and he's just this little ass kid, and you just cannot get him. And I just don't. Y'all think it's harder to tackle Lamar Jackson? No, I honestly think it's harder to tackle Kyle Murray. I don't know what it is with trying to catch this man, this grown little man. I don't know what it is, but he makes grown people look stupid. And just me watching him make me feel stupid because I just don't believe it. He's like a smaller version of Michael Vick. Everybody wants to talk about Lamar Jackson. No, it's really Kyler Murray. Like, this is the one that's really like the next generation of what Michael Vick could have been. And to be honest with you, this game probably goes more to your boy Cliff than it goes for anybody, because for him to come in and put on this coaching debut in Nashville, kudos to you, sir. That's all I have to say on that. Titans, go ice up, son. See y'all week 2 in Seattle because, you got some work to do.
I like what you said. I just want to say Kyler Murray gets the Mr. Slang That Thing award for week 1.
Yeah, he definitely had that one.
Because he did come out and he lit up that Titans secondary, which I did say that was the concern, right? Like, I noted that before the game started. I said the concern was, what is that secondary going to do? That was the weakness last year. It looks like the weakness continues. We'll have to see as the season goes along. If that continues to be the weakness, I'm sorry, but I will not be able to support the Titans moving forward like I thought I was going to, as far as being AFC Championship contenders.
I already feel stupid picking them to go to Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be rough. That secondary is they seem bad enough that they're gonna cost the team a lot of games this year, especially in a pass-happy league.
Not even the secondary, it's the offensive line too. The offensive line.
Yeah, the offensive line was poor. I mean, they only rushed for 86 yards. I mean, 86 yards rushing when you got the king in the backfield. 86 yards, man, that is not good. But hey, statement for Cliff Kingsbury and the Arizona Cardinals. This is the year. So they know the pressure is on. They know what's at stake. Cliff Kingsbury has had his time in Arizona. Now is the time to show up because they have backed you in free agency. They have backed you as far as like trusting your system, trusting the personnel that you put in place. Now is the year. You have got to do something. We said it before the season started, and hey, what better way to set the tone? What better way to announce like, hey, we want to be taken seriously in the NFC West than to come in and beat a team like the Tennessee Titans, who
was a playoff team last year.
Was a playoff team, was an AFC Championship contending team. Yeah, this is a statement game for them. I'm excited to see what they do. They got Minnesota next week, so man, they should just keep on rolling. If they continue rolling in Minnesota and then Jacksonville, week 4 against the Rams is going to be very interesting.
I think is that Sunday Night Football? Is that Sunday Night Football?
No. It's played Sunday afternoone. It's gonna be an afternoon game.
I know the Rams play the Raiders week 4 or week 5 or something like that Monday Night Football game. But yeah, that's gonna be a good one.
But that game, they could be going into a matchup with their division rivals 3-0. If they do what they need to do, like we say, you gotta win the games.
Be a
you're
good team. You gotta
win.
beat. Yes, exactly.
So I need Cliff to keep this momentum up, this energy up. I'm not quite backing you yet, Cliff. You know we got this thing that we always getting into it. But hey, I was excited for the Cardinals, excited for them to play the way I've been expecting them to play.
Christine says, was the Titans O-line bad or Chandler Jones that
no, that
good?
O-line was bad. It's a little both.
No, it was both. I mean, Chandler Jones is that good. I mean, you better stop disrespecting Chandler Jones. I mean, that's a bad boy. He learned it from his brother. Lee also says, last episode I said Isaiah Simmons had to step up for them to have a chance, and your boy Luan had a long night with Chandler Jones too. Yes.
Yeah.
Taylor Lewan is out at the moment. We'll see how long he's out. But I'm out of this game because the Titans play the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle next week. And 0-2 is on the horizon. 0-2. Alrighty then. A team that's 1-0, the 49ers, took on the Detroit Lions. And, of course, this game went as expected. But the one little caveat I want to add to this, if you are in Vegas and you were betting on this game, if you check out the money line, the over-under for this game was actually 8.5. How do I know this? Because my uncle put a little bet on this game, and he was not too happy the way that this game ended because the 49ers at one point was up by 20-plus points. The Lions end up scoring, of course, their points to cut the deficit to 8 points. So if you took the over, you lost, of course. And unfortunately, if you are betting in Vegas or elsewhere in the United States, and you did not take the points, then unfortunately you lost that bet. But for anybody else that, of course, picked the outright game, most likely, I'm assuming you picked the 49ers to win this game, and the 49ers took care of business. Unfortunately, they did have more injury bug news for the 49ers. Raheem Mostert is out for the rest of the season, it looks like, at the moment. So looks like another plug-and-play system at running back for them for the 49ers. But other than that, it looks like Jimmy G looks decent. They did add Trey Lance in that game. He threw him a touchdown as well. Can this two-quarterback little system that they are kind of trying to do, you think this can work moving forward?
I didn't like it. I didn't want to see Trey Lance come in and do anything. I wanted Jimmy G to rock it. You said he played well. Jimmy G played a great game. 17 for 25, 314 yards with a touchdown.
I mean, he played well. I mean, what the fuck? I mean, if you look at other performances around that league, I mean, again, that's average. Decent, good.
That was a great game. That was a great.
My bad. A classic game managing Jimmy G game. My bad.
My classic game managing, whatever. My only concern for them is that they let the. I don't know if it was you knew you were ahead, so you. Just
I don't know what that was.
I don't know what that was. I'm not gonna overreact. It's week 1, so I
would have overreacted if the Lions came back and won.
You know, you still got the win, so I'm gonna give you a pass on that. But they're gonna need to tighten it up a little bit. I was happy to see Deebo Samuel back healthy. Brandon Ayuk though had nothing on the stat line. That was a little concerning because he really carried the receiving corps last year for them, and for him, the word on the street is he had an injury. That's why he didn't get any plays called for him or anything. So we'll have to watch that moving forward. But Deebo Samuel being back, I mean, that was big time. I'm excited about the 49ers. Again, I have them going to the Super Bowl, so they need to continue doing what they're doing, trending in the right direction for me.
And of course, another unfortunate news for the Detroit Lions as well. Jeff, how you say last name? I can't say it.
Okudah.
Okudah, there you go. Yeah. Out for the season as well. Torn Achilles. That's definitely not something that
last thing they needed.
Exactly. So looks like the Lions will go 3-14 this season, just like Uncle Jason predicted. All right, let's go ahead and move on to a pretty damn good game. Unfortunately, got this one wrong again, though, but the Steelers and the Bills, and the Steelers took care of business going into Buffalo, New York-ish. Is this more of a game that made more noise for the Steelers or made more noise for the Bills? What do you think?
For me, I thought I was pretty sure I said in the pregame show that I wouldn't be surprised if Steelers won, because they were still a pretty strong team, even with the issues they had towards the end of the season. Mainly those issues where they couldn't run the ball, and they were dropping a lot of passes on the offense side, but that defense was still a solid defense, a playoff defense. And I think it was more so an announcement from the Steelers that like maybe they've righted the ship, maybe they figured it out, maybe they tightened it up a little bit, maybe they're not as concerned about TikToks and Snapchats and dancing on the logos or anything like that. I think that just possibly, I don't want to say they're back, but they may be focused again. They may be focused again and ready to compete in the AFC North. So I think it was a bigger deal for the Steelers than it was the Bills. Both teams made the playoffs last year, so you knew it was going to be a good, hard-fought game. And I don't think there's anything for the Bills to be worried about. The first game of the season, we're not going to overreact. We lost to a good team, a playoff team. And we're just gonna, regroup and keep going. So I don't think there's anything for the Bills or Bills fans to be concerned about. They played well. It didn't look sloppy or look horrible. They played well. The Steelers just were a better team on the day, and I'd rather lose to a better playoff team than lose to like the Texans or the Jaguars, right? So,
And I definitely understand completely where you're coming from. I want to agree on everything that you're saying when it comes to looking at the perspective, hey, we lost to a good team. But again, we're going to get into the Browns Chiefs game. But if you're wanting to be like the Chiefs, right? If you're wanting to be like Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, you have to beat these teams that you might see later on down the line that that if you feel like as a team that you can compete with them later on down the season, and because of the momentum that you had last season, this is one of those another prove-it games, because the Steelers as an organization has decades of history showing that they've been there, done that, and they can come in and do whatever they need to do, win or lose. The Bills have the complete opposite history. You go to 4 Super Bowls and lose them all, right? So for the Bills, for them to lose this game at home, I have to look at it like, man, can they? It's just week one. Not trying to overreact, but I'm just saying, can they bounce from this and actually believe in themselves that they can win a Super Bowl? Because the Steelers can believe in themselves because they have a Super Bowl champion quarterback. They have a Super Bowl winning coach, right? The Bills, none of them have been to a Super Bowl. So I think if anything, this might be a game we might look out later on in week 7 and week 8 where maybe they're 4-3. Maybe they're not the same Bills. Maybe they look like, ugh. I don't think so either. I don't think so either. And I believe in Josh Allen and the Bills. But I'm just saying this was a game that I feel like they could have won.
Well, they could have won. They only
maybe should have.
They lost by 1 score, and I think everything that you're saying, you have to think about it from the sense of, the Steelers, they were able to pull this game out because, like you said, they have that experience. They have a guy that's won the Super Bowl. They have a head coach who's been there, done that. A lot of those guys on that team, they come from a winning culture, right? The Bills are still learning. They're still early in that process, right? So it takes time for you to learn how to win these kind of games, right? It takes time for you as a team to learn how to do some of the things you're asking them to do. So it's going to take losses like this to playoff teams for them to get to the point where they are able to make that play in these situations. Like, they're going to have some of these losses to get there. So that's why it's not concerning for me, because I think this is another building block, right? This is another step in, like, this is a lesson to learn. When you play a team like this, you got to make those plays. You can't, like, these little mistakes that you're making here, the bad calls and stuff, it costs you these games, right? 1 score, one score away, right? So it's those little things, and they're going to learn that. And I think it helps them. These games only help them in the long run in achieving what they hope to achieve rather than hurting them. So that's my only thing about it. That's why I'm not as concerned. I think, like everything you're saying, you're right, but this is going to help them achieve that kind of stuff that you're talking about.
I got you. And speaking of in the long run, let's go ahead and segue that to teams that can maybe be better, not now, but in the long run. The
Mm-hmm.
Eagles and the Falcons. We split on this game. I think we both saw different things in both of these teams. And I expected the Falcons to play a little bit better than what they did. But another surprise team on the day definitely has to go to the Philadelphia Eagles. The way that Jalen Hurts played with this new offense that they have, and also the way that they played on defense. Philadelphia Eagles, hey, they said the Cowboys and the Washington football team isn't the only team out here that could win the NFC East. We feel like we can win it too. After watching their week one performance, Ish, how do you feel about the Eagles and maybe their chances of also maybe winning the NFC East?
They're a team that I'll say pump the brakes on. Let's just wait and see. It was exciting. It looked good. I definitely am excited about what I saw from Jalen Hurts. 27 for 35, 77. That's 77 completion percentage, 264 and 3 touchdowns. The problem is it was against the Falcons. So I want to wait and see about that. I want to take some time. They got the 49ers next week. If he performs similar to how he did in week one, then I think we start to get a little more excited. Then we start to say like, hey, NFC East, you need to watch out. But the Niners at home, I think that's our first real look at what this team is made of. If they perform against the Niners at home, I'm gonna be like, yo, okay. But what I like to see and what I liked from them and why I picked them, I expected Jalen Hurts to come out and make a statement as to why he should be the guy for Philly, right? Because the question all season has been, is he the guy? Are they gonna back him? So on and so forth. And he kind of came out and he gave you something to think about, right? Like he gave you something to say, hey, this might be the guy. And I expect him to keep doing that throughout the season. I expect him to keep trying to show these guys like, I am that guy if you'll just back me. So I'm excited to see because he's got the weapons around him. You got some really quick, fast guys, Jalen Reagor, Quez Watkins. You got, like I said, these guys, they
And
can
of course,
ball. Miles Sanders,
the Heisman Trophy winner, of course, Devontae Smith.
yeah, Devonta Smith. Who first catch touchdown. So they've got the weapons around them, and I think, and I'm excited about it. I just want to see consistency, right? Because that's the problem. Last year they weren't very consistent. They were up and down. They lost games that they should have won. They made bad decisions. So you're just looking for that consistency from them. Next week is the real test. If they perform well next week, then yeah, I'm definitely going to come in next Tuesday and I'm going to say, hey, the Eagles are somebody we should probably take a little bit more of a look at in the NFC East.
No, I really don't have anything else to say. What you just said, I 100% agree. This game was a fill-out game. Like you said, this is something that Jalen Hurts was supposed to come in and say, hey, I'm the man. Okay, week one after that, hey, you the man now. So let's see how you look against the 49ers. It'll be very interesting to see what type of defensive sets that he's going to have to face. And also be very interesting to see, of course, what type of pressures that they bring. Will they not try to blitz as much? Will they try to contain them? Will they, but if I look at Jalen Hurts, I look at him more of a pocket passer compared to, Lamar Jackson.
Hey, but they did run, real quick, they did run because that point, I like that point because he does make a lot of good passes from the pocket, but they ran a lot of read option this game. So I was interested to see how much read option they actually ran because last time we saw a lot of read option was to me when we saw it as like a staple in the offense was RG3 his rookie year in Washington. I think since then we haven't seen a lot. Baltimore does a lot of read option, but that's a little bit different because to me they're kind of like an option type team, right?
Yeah.
When you have Lamar Jackson, that's kind of what you do. But when you got a guy like Jalen Hurts who is a traditional pocket passer, it was interesting to see just how much read option they ran. So yeah, like to your point, he is more of a pocket guy and he made the throws. 77% completion percentage is not like some hobo number. Like that's a guy in the NFL. That is something to take notice of. So
no, I definitely agree. And before we get on to the next topic, like I said, we know who he is. He's from Houston. He's from the Houston area. He's been a He's been a leader since Channelview. He's been a winner since Alabama. He's a guy that has his head on straight. He knows what he's trying to do. He puts the work in. Honestly, I feel like Philly was always the best city for him to go to. They love a guy that's committed to the team, to the city, and that's who he is. It's just, can he go out there and get wins? That's what it's about. So, all right, let's go ahead and move on to the Browns and the Chiefs. Now, lucky for me, I did not be a hater and did not pick the Browns because I was very close to picking the Browns. And the Browns almost got them, but the Chiefs do what the Chiefs do, and that's went ahead and pulled out a very narrow victory in not Arrowhead, the stadium formerly known as Arrowhead, and went ahead and got the job done ish. How you feel about your Chiefs?
I mean, I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. The secondary has played better. No Tyrann Mathieu though, so he normally makes a big difference in that secondary. He normally is around, instructing people, putting people in the right places, making plays himself. So I'm waiting to see when he comes back how it looks. The defense, I mean, it just was bad. It was poor.
Frank Clark, he was inactive as Royals, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. So I mean, I've missed a lot of pieces on both sides of the ball. So it was one of those games where I felt like you did what you're supposed to do, but if you were full strength, this game probably would have been different.
I mean, it was concerning from the defensive standpoint, but the positive definitely was they found a way to win, right? And just like we were talking about with the Bills, and like if you want to win a Super Bowl, if you want to be that team, you gotta find a way to win these types of games. They found a way to win. On the Brown side, I think it is, while it's very heartbreaking, it is very encouraging because they played well. They didn't lose that game because they got outplayed or outclassed. They lost that game because of some mistakes here and there that they can clean up. And moving forward, I mean, if you're a Browns fan, you have to be excited. It's one of the reasons why I have them going pretty far this year. Because they just look like a team that's ready to compete. And like I said with the Bills, I think it's a similar thing. They are going to have to lose some of these games in order to learn how to win these games, right? So I'd rather them lose now so that they learn that lesson, and by the time playoff time comes around, or by the time it gets later in the season and they're playing for the AFC North title, they're able to find a way to win those games. So I mean, it was encouraging for a Brown standpoint, but and encouraging from a Chiefs standpoint, except for the defense. I want to see some better play from the defense. We got to be able to play better if we want to make it back to the Super Bowl again.
I mean, Patty Mahomes doing what Patty Mahomes does, just chunk it up there. Tyreek Hill down there somewhere, and the Chiefs, making a defensive stop like they always do with Sorensen, tripping up Baker and throwing the interception. I mean, it looks like the Chiefs are AFC Championship bound once again, and we'll see who's going to meet them there. The Bills, the Browns, Ravens, Raiders. Who knows? We'll see. All right, let's go ahead and move on. Yeah, I know. I just had to throw it out there. The Packers and the Saints. Of course, we were split on this game as well, and I told y'all if y'all tuned in Sunday morning, you can go ahead and let the folks know. Eat that W, baby. Eat that W, because Jameis Winston came out to ball, and he said, "Look, I'm gonna be back in Florida. I'm with my peoples. I mean, crab legs before the game and after the game. So I'm gonna put on this 5 touchdown performance." And went out here and slain that thing, but in a short yardage game, 148 yards passing. I'm gonna slain that thing for 5 touchdowns. I'm gonna let y'all know that, hey, I'm here and I ain't going nowhere. And with that being said, Jameis, we gonna see what you're doing the rest of the season, because if you keep this up, not 5 touchdowns a game, that's not gonna happen. But if you can keep this up, like I said, that MVP look, just saying, ish.
I mean, it was very encouraging from the Saints. They beat a team that a lot of people are expecting to go deep in the NFC playoffs. So to come out and make that kind of statement where it was supposed to be a home game, but it's not really a home game, I mean, that even more, it makes it all that more impressive just to see that. I mean, that was an impressive win for me. Winston played well. This is one of the games where you got to tell fans, you got to tell everybody, like, let's just wait and see, because the history of Jameis. Yeah, you want to be excited.
We ain't going off of history.
You want to trust him.
We ain't going off of history. We're going off of this season.
I know he got the LASIK eye surgery, so maybe it's different this time. But
you're gonna have me come on the show every week and be like, "I told you so." I told you so. That's what you're gonna do.
Huh? I want to wait. I want to see how he plays a little bit. I want to see a couple more games. I want to see how he plays against the Panthers next week. I want to see how he plays against the Patriots in week 3 when Bill Belichick's, got schemes going, right? Like the next 2 games are on the road. If he plays well in those 2 games, then I think, we're probably looking at like, hey, New Orleans is going to be really scary. That defense, though, if the defense plays like that, Tampa, y'all are going to have to maybe pump your brakes on thinking that y'all just going to go and waltz into the Super Bowl again, because New Orleans got a defense ready to play. It really is going to come down to, I think, Jameis Winston.
That's why I said I wanted to pick the Saints to win the division. I couldn't do it because the Bucs are coming off of a Super Bowl win, bringing back everybody. That's what I was worried about. But in the regular season, the Saints do what they do in the regular season. They gonna get to the playoffs. Just when they get to the playoffs, it's a whole nother ball game. But for this season, again, if James can keep doing what he's doing, the reason why I'm not talking about the Packers right now, because the Packers and Aaron Rodgers, I'm gonna call that game a mulligan. That's what I'm gonna do.
I mean,
that's a mulligan. Aaron Rodgers has that privilege and that luxury for us to look at Aaron Rodgers and say, you know what? No, we're not even gonna count that. No,
I agree.
We'll see you week 2, Aaron. Well, you're fine.
Boat. Like, yep, all right.
If this was Kirk Cousins, or any other bum quarterbacks, we'll talk about it differently. But Aaron Rodgers, you're fine with us. You're fine. But shout out to Jameis. We're gonna go ahead and move on to the next topic at hand: the Giants and the Broncos. The reason why I'm very disappointed in this game is because my boy Ishmael didn't pick his boy Teddy Two Gloves and have faith in his boy Teddy Two Gloves like I did, and I knew my boy Teddy was going to come in because apparently for some reason Ish thought because 9-11 was going to help the Giants. Not today. And if you want to be technical, 9-12 didn't help any of the New York teams. All 3 of the teams went 0-3, so that didn't help at all. But anyways, the Broncos came in and took care of business, and Teddy Two Gloves maybe might be able to be in the running for most improved.
No.
I'm just saying.
No.
A little something award. I don't know, some Pro Bowl maybe.
I'm pretty sure Teddy he watched the preview show.
Of course he did. Of course he did.
Talking all the mess about him, and so he decided he wanted to show me a little something. But guess what? Unfortunately for them, Jerry Jeudy got hurt and he out for a couple weeks. Yeah, so we're gonna see how it goes moving forward for Teddy Two Gloves. But hey, if Teddy like in all seriousness, if he continues to play like this, you should be scared of the Broncos because the Broncos have a really good defense.
Exactly.
But it's just always been that quarterback play, Drew Lock. Mm-hmm. I mean, the AFC West is looking pretty.
Drew Lock ain't getting that play. Drew Lock ain't getting that starting spot no more.
Oh no, he's not after that.
That's Teddy Two Gloves.
But again, that's another one of those pump the brakes because Teddy Two Gloves. We all know how he is. Some games he'll come out and throw it. This game he looked like the Teddy Two Gloves that went 5-0 with the Saints.
Yes, sir.
Next week he probably gonna look like the Teddy Two Gloves that was terrible with the Panthers. So we're gonna have to wait and see on that one. I'm definitely not just gonna jump up and be all excited for him. But yeah, he played well. He slang that thing. He did slang that thing.
He did.
I was surprised. He was actually slinging it down the field. But I'm just going to pump the brakes on that one. 255, that was good. A lot of rushing yards. Melvin Gordon looked really good, so that's something to be excited about.
That's what happened when he kept them dreads off. That was weighing him down. He kept them dreads off. That boy out here flying again. I see it.
Yeah, we'll see.
Let's go ahead and move on to the next game, the Dolphins and the Patriots, which was, of course, the debut of Mac Jones with the New England Patriots and the Dolphins. And the Dolphins came in here and stole one from the New England Patriots like I felt like they would. Won by 8 points, 17-16. Ish, was you pleased with Mac Jones' performance?
Mm, I mean, it was okay. 29 for 39, 281 and a touchdown, no interceptions. I mean, it was typical game manager type of game. Like it wasn't anything like spectacular, but it wasn't anything. There wasn't really anything that was horrible, right? I think he played like a solid game. 74 percent completion percentage is really good. So you like to see it, but we'll just have to. Time will tell. We'll have to wait and see. It wasn't a horrible loss. The Dolphins barely missed the playoffs last year, so it's not like you lost to a scrub. It hurts that it's a division team, but if you can get that kind of performance from Mac Jones in his first game of the season, and if I told you he would perform that way in the first game of the season, and you're Bill Belichick, I think you take it because I
Oh
think
yeah.
at the end
Oh
of the
yeah.
day, you're only expecting him to get better, right? And
Oh
if he's
yeah.
getting better from this, then yeah, they should be able to compete in the AFC East. Now, what that means, if that means making the playoffs, I don't know for a fact, but I do know that it wasn't too bad for him. It wasn't too bad for Tua either. Tua showed me a little bit, but I'm still not getting too excited about Tua because he showed some of these, you know, highlights last year, and then Fitzmagic had to bail him out. So I'm gonna have to wait and see what he does. It's gonna be an interesting matchup for the Patriots next week because this rookie quarterback versus rookie quarterback, they're going to go play the Jets. So they
Mm-hmm.
open with
Mm-hmm.
two division games right
Mm-hmm.
off the bat, and they definitely want to bounce back on that one. I expect Mac to win that one between he and Zach Wilson because Mac just looked better than Zach Wilson in the first game.
Lee also says Mac Jones looked the best and most poised out of the rookie quarterbacks. Hard to not be a game manager when Nelson Aguilar is your number one wide receiver.
True.
Definitely understand that too. And I'll just have a quick little say on Mac Jones. I honestly felt like he played, like the Patriots wanted him to play. He wanted to make sure that he didn't mess up the game for him. No turnovers. Don't be the reason why we lose the game. And like you said, Ish, I mean, if this is something that they can build off of, this is a good thing for Bill Belichick and the rest of the Patriots as an organization. But I also will say as well too is what are y'all as the organization looking for this season? Are y'all trying to win the division? Are y'all trying to make the playoffs? Are y'all trying what is y'all's expectation with Mac Jones as a rookie quarterback? Because like I told you in the Sunday show, this Dolphins team was filled with a couple of players that used to play for Bill Belichick, of course, and I felt like this win was more for that Dolphins confidence to show themselves that we can win. Like last year wasn't just a fluke, right? Like we can go and win anywhere, anytime against anybody. And I think this was a really good win for them and their confidence moving forward. And I'm very excited to see what the Miami Dolphins have as a team moving forward. All right, let's go ahead and finish us off for our weekly pick'ems. The Sunday night football game, the Bears and the Rams. Of course, we were all in on the Rams, and if you watch this game, hey, this game pretty much went the way everybody expected it to go, and that is Mr. Matt Stafford making his Rams debut, throwing a having a beautiful passing debut. And of course, on the other side, Mr. Andy Dalton out here being Andy Dalton. And of course, Justin Fields came in, had a couple of passes thrown, also was able to rush in for a rushing touchdown as well. With that being said, Ish, how long until the Bears say, Justin Fields, it's your time?
I mean, I'm wondering the same thing. I was wondering why in that game they didn't just let Justin Fields take over. Andy Dalton showed exactly what Andy Dalton has showed for the past couple of years. Andy Dalton is a decent quarterback. He's not the starting quarterback, and he should not be the starting quarterback for the Bears. I don't know why the Bears continue with this nonsense. Like, at this point, I think they're purposely doing it just to spite everyone because everyone is in agreement that Justin Fields is better than Andy Dalton and should be the guy there. It'll be interesting to see. They got Cincinnati next week at home. If they lose to Cincinnati at home, do you then go ahead and give it to Andy Dalton? Probably, I mean, the Justin Fields, probably not, because maybe you don't want to throw Justin Fields to the Wolves against Cleveland on the road in week 3. I just don't know. I'm assuming week 4 is when they're going to do it because they play the Lions at home.
That'd
So
be a perfect time to do it.
I guess, yeah, week 4 against the Lions at home is when they'll give Justin Fields the keys. But it was standard from the Rams. The Rams look dangerous. A definite upgrade with Matt Stafford as quarterback. So look out for the Rams in the NFC West. But for the Bears, my one takeaway was I don't want to watch Andy Dalton. Why did I have to watch Andy Dalton in prime time?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, there's really not too much to talk about. More so, of course, on the Rams than the Bears. I want to talk honestly more about that beautiful new SoFi Stadium more than I want to talk about the Chicago Bears.
Wonderful.
To be completely honest, but the Bears, man, I mean, I agree with you. When Andy Dalton was in, they were looking very basic Bears-ish, and when Justin Fields came in, they looked like a completely different offense. And I'm not just saying this because I want Justin Fields to start. I'm saying it because this is what I saw, and if he's able to continue to do that, Justin Fields, and also I don't know about you, Ish, but it looks like the offense and the team rallies around this guy. When he scored that touchdown, everybody, and they were only down by a touchdown at that time when he scored. So I was thinking like you, why don't you keep him in? Maybe have an opportunity to win that game. They lost by 20.
It makes too much sense.
They probably might not have lost by 20 if Justin Fields was starting maybe the whole game.
I think the plan is, like I said, I think they have a set plan in mind. They want to give it to him in week 4 against the Lions. I just think that's the plan that they have in mind at this point.
It makes sense.
They must have a plan.
It makes sense. All right, let's go ahead and get to the graphic and let everybody know the record at the moment after week 1.
Clearly, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Of our NFL 2021 Pick'em, at the moment, I am leading 10-6, and Ish is at 500 with 8-8. It's all good. It's just 1 week. Nobody's gonna bury you. You're fine. We're gonna keep it moving. Just 1 week. All right. And of course, if y'all want to keep up with that, we will post all of our scores on our Instagram and Facebook pages for that. We will also want to talk about our one topic for the night before we talk about our fantasy league, and we'll let y'all go for the night. We appreciate everybody, as always, for tuning in. And the topic we have for the night, what is the bigger story? And everybody that's tuning in, please let us know. The NFC West going 4-0, the AFC West going 4-0, or the NFC North going 0-4. Ish, hit me with your best shot.
I think the AFC West going 4-0. I definitely think it's the AFC West going 4-0, only considering the Raiders beat a really good team in the Baltimore Ravens. You got the Chargers, who beat a really good team in Washington football team. The Chiefs beat a really good team in the Cleveland Browns. I mean, the AFC West, and then you got the Broncos, of course, who won their game, not against a really good team, but they won their game against the G-Men. So I think the AFC West, this could be the year where you see a little bit of pressure starting to get put on the Chiefs. I am expecting a lot from the Chargers. I've already said that they should pressure them, but you may see a little bit more from the Raiders. Maybe they found a way to win that game on Monday night. If they can continue in that manner, it wasn't the cleanest of games, but if they can find a way to win some of these games, squeak them out, who knows what they could look like going into the end of the season. And then the Broncos, they've always had a really good defense. It's always been that quarterback play. We saw what happened when they had Peyton Manning, a quarterback that was actually able to do some things. They went all the way to the Super Bowl. So if Teddy Two Gloves is able to consistently play like this, kind of similar to what he did in New Orleans, the Broncos could also make noise. So, I mean, the NFC West, we all expected that. And again, with the NFC North, I think we all know that the NFC North isn't the strongest division. The one surprise from that was the Packers and the way that they got beat. But outside of that, much of what happened to the NFC North was expected, right?
No, I definitely agree with you on that part. So since you're taking the AFC West, I will take the NFC West, not because of the surprise that everyone won, but I would say more than anything the way that they won. So you have, of course, the Seahawks taking care of business in Indianapolis. I apologize, beating the Colts the way that they did. You have the Cardinals putting a stomping on the Tennessee Titans. You have the Rams taking care of business on Sunday Night Football, and you also have I'm missing the other team. I apologize. The
49ers.
Thank you. The 49ers taking care of business against the Lions. And even though, of course, those foes weren't, playoff teams as in the Lions, it just goes to show everyone what we were talking about before the season even started when it comes to this division being what we expected it to be, a hard-nosed, rough and tough type of division throughout the rest of the season, to where either minimum 2 teams. There are going to be 2 teams that come from that division. There could be 3, and who knows, there could be 4. And if it's all 4, that's something that's never happened in NFL ever. That's something that we can, hopefully see some history happen. And if that happens, that'd be pretty cool. But that also goes to show you how strong that division is. So I'm excited to watch that division. I'll go to the comment section right quick. Christine says her division was her bigger story was the North going on 4. So it looks like everybody has, a little say in, the big story for this week. But hey, like we said, it's just week 1. Let's all pump the brakes, and we'll see what happens moving forward. So let's go ahead and get into
Speaking of it's just week 1, pump the brakes.
Exactly. Thank you very much for that, Ish, because we're going to go right into our fantasy football standings for the moment. And just like it is in the NFL conference, the NFC is very strong in ours. And at the moment, it looks like Kiss the Baby, a.k.a. Ishmael Sirian, is in dead last. You all right over there? You okay? You awake?
I don't even want to talk about it. Trust
just
the process.
Just checking
it's just week 1. Pump the brakes. Don't overreact. We're a young squad, building for the future. What are the other cliche things?
There you go, general manager. Say? Yeah, keep going. Keep
going. when the team not performing well.
We're on to Buffalo or Baltimore.
Yeah. On to Baltimore. Anything can happen. I mean, yeah, all those things, man. All those things.
All right. Well, we appreciate that, General Manager Sirian. And at the moment on NFC side, coming in first is Club Shay Shay. Number 2, Smokey Joe. Number 3, Bishop Sycamore. Number 4, Brady's Mavericks. 5, Bay Area Bully. And, of course, Kiss the Baby. Dead last. In the AFC Conference, Thanos was right. Colonel Flanders Chicken. Datman Dooley. B. Rocka. CD's Nuts. And, of course, our friend at Just Another Football Show. Just Another Title Run. And dead last over there. Alrighty then. As we said, we was going to recap the games. We're also going to recap these fantasy teams and fantasy games. And
I do want to note, X is not lying when he says dead last, because my team scored the lowest point.
Yes, they did, and I'm happy. Before we go as well, I just want to also bring up the awards as well for the fantasy football. So the best manager was Datman Dooley. The worst manager was B. Rocka. The biggest blowout was Club Shay Shay over CD's Nuts. The narrowest victory was Thanos was right over Datman Dooley. The highest scorer was Club Shay Shay. The lowest scorer was Kiss the Baby, a.k.a. Ishmael. The overachiever was Thanos was right, and below expectation was Call Me Ishmael. So with that being said, like I said, like we said all episode long, this is week 1. Let's not overreact.
Yeah, let's not overreact.
Let's get into week 2 so we can overreact. Let's wait till we get to week 2.
Yes.
So we have 2 games on us, then we can overreact. No, but seriously though, this is gonna be, like I said last season, got to happen last season. It's gonna be a very long but quick season. By the time we look up, it'll be week 14, and we'll be like, where did time just go? But it went by slow/fast. And let's just enjoy the season, Ish. Hey, this is always fun. This is great. I appreciate everybody as always for tuning in. I appreciate you, Ish, for being here. And we appreciate everybody on the podcast that's going to be listening in on this as well that don't want to see our ugly faces.
Yeah, we appreciate it all, man. Thank you all for the support as usual. And we'll see you again on Sunday morning. Until real quick before we go, X.
Yes, sir.
We might as well go ahead and make our Thursday pick.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you wanted to do it right now. Go ahead and drop it on the boys.
I mean, or we can wait. Y'all can look for it. Y'all can look for the social. Look for it on the socials.
Say put it on the social. There you go. All right.
Actually, I'm gonna make my pick because I just realized who's playing.
It's
And
Washington football team versus the G-men.
NFL, stop with this.
There are gonna be some bad primetime games on in week 2. I'm gonna let y'all know
Stop
right now.
this nonsense, man. Please, I don't even want to watch this, but I'm gonna go ahead and pick Washington football team because there is no other team to pick.
I'm very scared because I feel like this is a game the Washington football team's supposed to win, but for some reason the Giants are gonna win this game.
No.
I don't know, but I'm gonna wait till Thursday to make my pick. So y'all check us out on our social media pages. We'll have our little graphic to let y'all know who we picked for that Thursday night game. But until then, we will see y'all on Sunday, 10 o'clock in the morning, to let y'all know, of course, about the pre-games for week 2. Until then, thank y'all very much. See y'all next time.